BigHerc916. Positivity, motivation, never settle for average. You know how we do it over here. I haven't been filming a lot outdoors because it's been so hot out here in Arizona. You know, during the day, man, it's been like 108, and with those type of temperatures, you just get hot and sweaty. You can't really, you know, film good content because you're just feeling uncomfortable. So I've been filming a lot of content indoors, but I did get some content outdoors over the weekend. I popped into SoCal, went to the quarantine cruise, checked out a bunch of muscle cars, and that's like, man, that's like my happy place, man. Classic cars, old schools, muscle cars. I just really feel like I connect with those cars and the people. So shout out to the quarantine cruise, and make sure you go to my other channel, Muscle Up Car Lifestyle. Links in the description. Subscribe to that channel and support. I have 3 cars. I'm over there. I'm going to be featuring a lot. I got a 72 Chevelle. I have a 68 Cougar, and I have an 82 Porsche 928. And those 3 cars will be on my channel. Really tough. And I will also be dropping, got a little nose itch, some new merch related to the car. So I'll be doing limited drops of the merch on my channel, and all of that stuff will be going down, and it's just going to be really big. So make sure you guys tune in over there. Don't miss out. Support. Hope to catch you at a car show, which I will be hitting a lot of car shows. Hopefully I can catch a lot of you guys at SEMA. But yeah, man, you know, I do a lot of reflecting when I'm driving back and forth from Arizona to SoCal, and I just trip off of how easy it is to convince people to do something they wouldn't normally do because of how something's being laid out, you know. And I say that because, you know, I was thinking back when I was in prison and how there would be over 200 guys in a pod, and there'd be one guard, and all these people would be just sitting around watching TV, not thinking about trying to go home early, not thinking about trying to fight their case, not studying any laws, not looking up any laws. They just had settled into their confinement and were cool with it. And these guys were working in prison, satisfied with making 19 cents an hour, 17 cents an hour, 20-something cents an hour, you know, getting a little overtime. They were content with that. And I'm like, how could they convince these guys who were gang members on the streets, drug dealers, some of them white collar guys, how can they convince all those people just to go along with that program and not question it? And in their mind, they were legally convicted, and therefore it was a justified sentence. So these people never questioned whether or not they were properly, procedurally correctly arrested, or if their constitutional rights were violated, if they were charged with counts that didn't pertain to them, if they had any due process violations, if they could have possibly gotten them back into court on an issue because it didn't pertain to their case. A lot of these guys never looked up any of these things, and they were happy with getting the visits on the weekends, buying the food in the commissary that was shit food, and they would just go along with it. And then when I got out and I seen how people were navigating through the free world and just going along with what was being told, you know, I got out 2008. It was during the housing crisis. You know, people were losing their homes, the mortgage rates were crazy, and all this stuff was happening, right? And I had no idea because I was just happy to be out. I wasn't watching the news. I was just living free. I was just outgoing spirit, not caught up on any crazy obligations. I didn't have no kids or nothing like that. I just had to get on my feet. Fast forward when they started doing all the bullshit narrative with the lockdowns, with the mask and all that COVID shit. I'm like, man, this is the same shit how they flip it in prison when they get you to buy into something that the warden's implementing on the compound. I looked at it. So initially, me and my wife, we kind of peep game, and I told her, I said, look, this is some shit. This is some control shit. This is some shit that you got to question and look at it from a different perspective. And as you started questioning, you seen that there were holes being punched in left and right, but a lot of it was getting shut down, silenced. And then you have all of it coming out now that's exposed all these pharmaceutical companies, how much money was made, how many people were separated from loved ones, people who got caught up with addiction during this time, people who reverted back to going back to drugs, the depression, the isolation, just all the divide stuff. And when you wonder how they were able to do a lot of these things in the past with other societies, when they were isolating the Jews in Germany, when they were doing this to certain people in Italy, during the push of fascism, and then they were, in Russia when they were separating and basically, preying upon their own people. It's all tied in, and at the end, you look at back then, they had media, but it wasn't as fast acting as it is today. But now with social media and how it's controlled, you can literally click on multiple channels and hear the same shit. And people, because they do not want to disrupt their normal everyday activity, they keep their head down and they just go along with it because they feel it's easier than to what's considered question the system or question a narrative. So I just ask you, do you question things, or do you just go along with it? Do you prefer to keep your head down, not ruffle feathers? You don't want to upset nobody, you don't want to offend nobody, so you just do whatever everybody else does and hope that it's the best decision, unless you hear otherwise. But for the most part, you're just gonna bow down. It's okay if you do, that's your choice, but you can't get mad at the people who don't. You can't get mad at the people who question and the people who don't go along with what everybody else is doing, and then find out that they're right and be mad because you went along with it and they didn't. That's just something you got to accept too. If they're wrong, they're wrong. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. If they're right, they're right. But you can't be mad at it. You sit back and you just listen to all the different angles right now, how they're having everybody right now just, attack each other. If you say something, that doesn't go along with this, you're transphobic. If you question this, you're a bigot. If you say something against this, you're a racist. Then everything that a white person does now is white supremacy. If a black person says something that's not right, then you're an Uncle Tom, you're a coon, you're a sellout. If anything else, basically they can say what they want to say, do what they want to do, and they're right, and you can't question shit. Who made up those rules? In prison I used to question a lot of shit, man, and they're like, dude, you better just do your time. I'm like, no, you do your time. I'm gonna question everything, and I ain't gotta go along with what you're doing. If you want to do all that stuff, hang out with those people, pretend to be whatever on the yard and run around politics, that's cool for you, but I'm not with that. And I ain't been with it on the street either. If I was a follower, then yeah, maybe my social media presence would be a lot bigger than what it is now. But I just don't have it in me, man. And like I said, I just look at things from a microcosm, and I see how they try to implement it on the macro, and a lot of it's some straight bullshit. And when you start digging and get past all the race play, all the religious play, all the bullshit, you could see that damn near everything that they told you was one thing is totally the opposite. Just take modern medicine. Before it was taken over by the Rockefellers, you had all these herbalistic different medications, these natural healing things, and people were healthier. You didn't have all the cancers and stuff. But once oil came into play and you start implementing oil-based medications and the medical industry became involved in sickness for profit, dude, all those people were considered quacks. They were kicked to the side, and you know, half the stuff, because they couldn't patent it and make money off it, they said it didn't work. Have you done your research? It's just thinking about like who controls the education system. When you look at who controls it, are you really amazed, or not? I want to say amazed is the wrong word. Are you really upset when you see what they're telling the kids in school? The same. I mean, they already left out a bunch of shit in history to write it to favor a certain narrative, and then on top of it, when you start adding in all the sexualization stuff, these people are closet. You know what? Why else would they want to teach that to a kid? Why else would you want to have what you see in the schools going on when it doesn't have nothing to do with educating a child? And then on top of it, most of the stuff that they're teaching these kids doesn't pertain to science or math or engineering or English. Dude, what's the point of it? You don't need to even know about most of that stuff as far as anything sexual until you're, damn near about to graduate high school. If you are one of the people who keep your head down, you don't look up, and you wonder why shit is the way it is because I got a good job, blah, blah. Well, one day when you wake up and shit's at your doorstep, who's to blame but yourself? You kept your head down and act like because you were doing your thing and you getting a little bag. Well, if the shit is at your doorstep, that's going to affect your bag. So, I don't know. Like I said, I just trip out because the same people who kept their head down in prison, they would always look at me, Big Herc, man, what you been over to the law library? What they got going on over there? And they be laughing, clowning. Oh, man, you always over there trying to find out something. Are you going home yet? Nah, nigga. Are you going home yet watching basketball and BET? What are you doing? All the latest rap videos. You can recite every rap video, but you can't recite the Bill of Rights. You don't know the damn Constitution, and you don't know anything about the congressional acts. You don't even know what the statutes are you're in here under, but you're in here eating a bowl of top ramen with some cheese whiz and beef sausage. And you telling me not to talk to this guy because he's white or this guy's Mexican. Man, I'm telling you, man, there's some ignorant people in the world. And if you want to see some of the most ignorant people and the most low frequency vibration bullshit, go to prison, man. Go up in there, have a party. Let these guys trick you into thinking it's a damn free for all. But at the end of the day, you have your freedoms out here if you're able to watch this. Hopefully in a free world, know that you have choices. You ain't got to be a follower. You can do your research. You're as capable as anybody else if you can read. And don't let nobody tell you that you're not capable of understanding the same thing that they're reading. That's like how they used to do back in the day. Only certain people could read the Bible because they don't want you to read the Bible and come up with your own interpretation. And once you start reading it, you realize that, man, I ain't got to give this dude no money. What am I donating for? Why am I bound down to this guy pulling up in a Rolls Royce and I'm, catching a bus to the church? Come on, man. You got to wake up. BigHerc916.com. Pick you up some merch. Holler at me. I didn't start off as a bad kid. Officially, I only got one real spanking my entire life. My mom did the best a 14-year-old could do, raising me with love and instilling values that will last a lifetime. I was a straight A student and lived to make her happy. So how did I go astray? A horrible stepdad that stole my self-worth and invoked fear turned me into a person that I struggled to overcome. From skateboarding to selling drugs, gang banging in juvenile hall, I got caught the same way many young promising men get caught up. I struggled to find my identity, getting mixed up in shootouts, crime, and the adult entertainment industry. This roller coaster continued as I juggled college, hustling, and Hollywood, eventually catching a federal bank robbery case. I found redemption in prison while serving a 120-month federal sentence and came out a man on a mission. I became a social media influencer with over 500 million views on YouTube and a life coach mentoring people all over the world. This is my journey against all odds.
Are you tired of smelling funky? Have you lost your ad? Go to BigHerc916.com and get your nutsack right.